Hi traders, welcome to Admiral Markets. My name is Chris. Today we're going to take a look at breakouts and bounce setups. Thanks for joining us with Admiral Markets. First of all though, be aware of these two disclaimers. The first one explains the fact that this webinar is shown to a global audience but may not be suitable for everyone. Therefore visit Admiral Markets, excuse me, admiralmarketsglobal.com. Select your country of residence and contact the appropriate entity for more details on that. And second of all, please note that trading for exchange and global financial markets is considered high risk. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This webinar is for informational and educational purposes only. By continuing watching this webinar, you agree with this disclaimer and you are aware of the risk involved when trading. All right, so before we take a look at the charts, we're going to look at technical analysis and currency pairs and some other instruments. Perhaps if you're interested, we can take a look at commodities or some stock indices or CFDs. All of that is something we can review and is also tradable. Just check out admiralmarkets.com. Click on it's called products, and you can see the instruments, the groups, and instruments. All right. There's also more information about how you can start trading if you like. If you want more info about Admiral Markets, for instance, as well. Here you can see, for instance, some info about the regulatory authorization, for instance. Then there's the platforms, MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition and 5, with lots of extra features that some of them you'll see in this webinar. And last but not least, maybe you already know analytics and education. That alone, there's a lot of info, material, knowledge to be found there. So it's a good place to make it as your home to check out analysis and learn how to trade better. All right. So part of that is this webinar. So let's start right now and take a look what's going on. Sorry about that. Have a little bit of a cold still, I guess. Still lingering, but it's not too bad. So, all right, there we go. Euro dollar. Now, for those that were following my analysis in wave analysis, perhaps, or yesterday's video, maybe, you know that I'm bearish, and you know that I'm looking for continuation down to 115. But a very quick recap for those that haven't followed that, and maybe anyone new in here, anyone join here for the first or second time, perhaps. You might be wondering, why am I bearish? So very quick recap, without boring the people who already know my view on this. Basically, we have a break of this support right here on the daily chart that happened on Thursday, and I'm expecting a continuation down to S1, but not only S1, but also if we put a fib from here to here. And why would we do that? Because I think that this is one strong bullish swing up. And this is probably, in my view, if you use waves, for instance, a wave 1, 2, this is a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. So from this perspective, price stopped at the 23.6 fib. Indeed, bounced, but then was not able to break above resistance, rather broke through support, and therefore now should be falling towards the next Fibonacci support levels. All right, so basically it's on its way towards 115 and the 38.2 fib and the S1 and the long-term moving average. There's a cluster of confluence there at that support level. And that is also another reason why I wouldn't mind looking for a bullish bounce at the 115 support zone. That could be a 4-hour candlestick pattern, it could be a daily candlestick pattern, or both, in fact, and looking for a bounce to the upside at that level. And I expect a bounce. I'm not can't look in a crystal ball and say, okay, that's for sure going to lead up to price moving up to 122.50. But I think there's a decent chance. The max retracement should be the 50. If it goes below the 50, then this is probably not a wave 4, unfortunately. All right, so that would be not invalidating, but making this analysis less likely. So from this perspective, there's still space as price breaks, makes a little bit of pullback. There's still space to continue down to this 38.2 fib, most likely. Nothing is a guarantee, but that seems likely to me. when looking at all kind of things, swings, price action, fibs, support and resistance, waves, patterns, and putting it all together. So at this moment, your dollar is making a correction, and it seemed to be turning around. That's why I'm in a short at this moment, but I don't like how long it's taking. You see, price is basically making a little bit of a correction here, going sideways. That's a triangle, and that triangle could break to both sides, which is one of the reasons that I didn't exit my short, but I did trail stop my stop loss personally, and reduce the risks. And I have the stop loss now at 116.45. That seems a little bit tight, but yeah, okay, few pips above these highs basically. That's what I did. And the reason is because if it does break to the upside, you see, I took the trade on this candle, I believe. No, I took it a bit later, but it was based on this candle, I should say. And I was looking for follow through to the downside. And the reason was, let me give you a little bit of idea why I took the trade, perhaps there. So I put a fib from here to here. I saw the price retrace to the 38.2 fib. I saw an ABC correction. So from my point of view, this was kind of the start of a new, or potential start of a new downside. However, price in the entire day has not been able to break through this support trend line. Moreover, price here has gone sideways. That's indecision. So after multiple hours in this trade, based on the hourly chart, although of course the signal is based on the hourly chart, but basically the structure, I'm trading the breakout of the daily chart, bearish breakout, and the retracement of the 4-hour chart, of course, just to keep in mind. But as price just goes flat like this, I don't want to, if it breaks to the upside, it's really difficult to tell how far it could push up. The 50 fib is logical, but that's where approximately I had the stop loss. So that's not good to stay in that trade. Maybe I should have put the stop loss probably a little bit higher. In retrospect, maybe a small little error on my side, but that's just that's how I did it at that time, and I can't change that anymore. So I'd rather squeeze it, put it above the pattern, and wait. Either take a small loss, 8 pips loss, which is nothing compared to the original risk of about 30 and 46 if a wider stop loss was used. So and still live in the trade in the sense that if it breaks, that's still alive, and if it breaks, then it could be still a good setup. Of course, we are getting closer to the end of London, but if there is a breakout candle here, I think that it's still probably not that bad. But it looks like it could wait till tomorrow, unfortunately, and that today was just a very choppy day. But still, many hours left in today. Also, the New York afternoon sometimes sees movement too. It's not like that's totally, quiet, and the euro dollar might make that move in the New York afternoon session. But I need to see a breakout candle here, and if it does, it could still be a valid setup because it's breaking through this support line, it's breaking through the descending wedge. So if there's a good hourly candle busting and breaking through this support, well, might not be that bad. I think stop loss above these tops, maybe here somewhere, targeting 115.30, 115.10, 115.80 would be a bit too tight, I think, as a target. And there's a good chance it could continue in New York, maybe a correction over Asian, and then continue again with the London, for instance, maybe. So anyhow, in any case, that would be the trigger. At the moment, it's making a pause. So this is one of the reasons why I don't like to hang in trades too long if price is not moving in my weight, within a reasonable amount of time. If it's choppy like this, it's just taking a little bit too long. Overall, though, even if it would break to the upside, it's still bearish because it's then, I think, just going to the 50 fib and the weekly pivot point, and it's just expanding this correction like this. I still think that that's a strong resistance zone, likely turning spot for price. and then the next time it will probably break through the support trend line and start heading lower. So the overall picture remains bearish, even if it were to extend its retracement a little bit higher. All right, so this could be a breakout if we have a good 4-hour candle. A bounce here could be some bearish engulfing twins, for instance. That could be also a good signal for the euro dollar. All right, regarding the pound dollar, made a small little upside, still made a little bit of a sideways zone like this with momentum prior to it, made a little bit of a dash up to resistance at 132.50 and the R1 and the trend line. Could be a bounce spot, but so far we see bullish price action. So would not be looking for a short as yet, unless I see a clear bearish candlestick pattern. All right. So for the moment, sitting on the sidelines. But if there is a break tomorrow and there is a flag like this, then it could be good for continuation. All right. Now, dollar yen. Personally, I'm bearish, but there is a little bit of bounce already at S1. So let's see. I would like to see a turn somewhere in here. If there are bearish candles here, I think it could still be good for continuation lower. Aussie, same story as the euro, but the Aussie did break. All right, and I took this one to basically correction, strong downtrend, corrective pattern, and continuation. All right. Kiwi, also in a bear flag, but at support. All right, let's move on. Euro yen was looking for a bearish breakout, but ultimately didn't get the candle close near the low or below these support levels here, as you can see, like this. All right, so it didn't take that trade. Yesterday was a bit of a doji or small bearish candle. So could this be a bounce? Maybe, but for the moment, I'm sitting on the sidelines. I would like to, if it is a bullish bounce, would need to break at least and close above yesterday's high at the very minimum. Otherwise, I think it's more of an indecision at this point. Let's see what else we can look at. Yeah, one of the trades I took earlier this week were pound New Zealand and pound CAD. Maybe you heard me talk about it. If you follow me on Twitter, then you might have seen that already flash by. But I made 206 pips on pound CAD upside, 150 on pound New Zealand. No, 103 on pound New Zealand, but the 150 target is very close. Did anyone manage to grab those trades by any chance? I did mention them through my Twitter account. I'm not sure what happened with the pound New Zealand, unfortunately. It's all the way here. All right, there we go. So, let's see. Where did I take it? This one? No. Pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand was 30-minute chart. Sorry. I took it on this candle here as it was breaking to the upside, basically like this. Breakout, and was looking for a continuation, break, pullback, continuation. So that's what we got. A bit of a correction here, but still got the follow through nicely. Made a little bit of a triangle like this and broke that triangle to the upside. So that's what I was looking for. Break, pullback, continue on the pound New Zealand. Let me put the pound New Zealand back to its original spot. And also the pound CAD was a trade on the 4-hour chart where I was looking for momentum, pullback, and continuation. So from my perspective, this was a bull flag like this. And I was looking for a break of the bull flag, which was, in my view, this candle as it broke above this bearish candle. All right, so that was my trigger, and boom, up it went. Hit the target 170.70 for plus 206. All right, so far no one mentioned anything, so I guess not. No one joined me on that one, but or those two. But maybe someone in the webinar recording has. Let's hope so. But if not, no problem. We can try to find some new setups. In any case, the pound upside, I think, at the beginning of the week worked well. Pound CAD also nicely moved up. Pound dollar, but I like the pound New Zealand and sorry, pound odd, excuse me, pound CAD and pound New Zealand. I like the most. Pound odd, pound dollar worked well as well. With regard to new setups, I not particularly see anything at this moment. Pound yen has moved up too, following the pound. Its structure is a little bit more messy in my view. I'm not a particular fan of this kind of formation, and it's starting to look corrective like this. So I wouldn't be surprised if the pound yen is making some kind of corrective channel at this moment. But that would be confirmed if it breaks through support. Now it was back at support within this channel. So anyone looking for a bounce, it would make sense to look for a bounce within this channel to continue with this channel. However, I think there could be a potential head and shoulders around this zone. Also considering the fact that there is quite a choppy move up here, it could expand its correction like this. Also, excuse me, if we look at the weekly chart, we see a pretty big weekly candle, by the way, which is the fifth candle. So not breaking this high. So, and that's a pretty strong bearish candle, I think. So from this perspective, I would be cautious with upside on the pound yen at this moment. The pound is pushing it up, I know. But I think that from this perspective, it is probably more in a resistance spot, and it would maybe even look for some candlestick patterns here for a renewed attempt at the support, and who knows, maybe next time it will break. However, if there is a good 4-hour candle breaking above this, or if there's some bull flag here and then price breaks above it, then probably this reversal will not occur. So that's something that is a bounce or break spot, okay, as I call it. A decision zone is another word. And this is a good example because it depends how price reacts here, I think, to this resistance line and to the support line about the pound yen opportunities to trade it. Let's see. Anything else? We got Euro yen on our list still. No problem, Munsha. I hope I said the name correctly. And we can take a look at the Euro yen probably. That's also an interesting one. Kiwi, by the way, is in a bear flag and testing support here. So it's kind of like squeezed and very curious. I still think that the bears will win now and break through this daily support level because it has lasted this bear flag has lasted for quite a while. I was looking for a 4-hour flag and that's what's happening. So I think it is looking okayish. This is a little bit choppy. So I think that I have moved the stop loss of my Kiwi trade setup to 68.53, just above here, because it is trying to break through support, but it's doing that very choppily. So that does not give me much encouragement. So that's why I want to be careful and use a tighter trail personally on this one. Oh, Euro yen we already talked about. Sorry about that. So Yeah, that was a quick review, mainly because I guess the market is not showing a ton of setups. Excuse me. Does anyone have something on their radar at this point? I am keeping an eye on the Euro odd and Euro New Zealand. For that matter, by the way, would be good if the Euro odd made some kind of 15-minute correction like this, and I'm looking for a continuation. I think the Euro New Zealand, it would be good too if it did that, some kind of correction and continuation. Euro New Zealand is rising, but it's a little bit choppy at this moment, as you can see. So that looks like a rising wedge at the moment. I wouldn't want to trade it to the downside, but what could happen is it would be good to see some correction, continuation like that. So that's something to keep an eye on, I think. With regard to odd New Zealand, looks like a bull flag at this moment. There we go. And we got yesterday a bounce, but then a rejection again at resistance. So it looks like it's making some kind of ABC correction. So the next break might work well on this odd New Zealand. It looks like momentum, correction, and continuation. So that's something that I'm keeping an eye on. With regard to gold, it is moving lower at this point. So I think it looks like a falling wedge, but now, excuse me, it's actually in some channel here, like this. Still, I think it is at a spot that it can bounce. All right, it's a pretty interesting decision spot. And it will be interesting to see if this is indeed an ABC as I expect. But this corrective choppy price action fits more within a wave B. This is more like a wave A, and up it can go for wave C. So a break of this trend line could confirm that. In that case, it shouldn't break below this bottom. So a bounce here would be interesting, or a break here on gold, in my view. All right. Let's take a look at some of these exotics. Nothing really there at this moment. Yen is moving lower on these pairs, like the odd yen, New Zealand yen, CAD yen. But at this moment, I don't see a particular setup on those exotics myself. But if you do, let me know. Here, one more example of the pound odd that had good pound strength too, and a good follow through. And it might see continuation tomorrow. If we get a good daily candle today, for instance, and we see some bull flag on the 1 hour chart, right? It could be a good setup for more upside. There could be 1 hour divergence, but let me take a look. So technically, yes, if this starts to retrace, this would be divergence, but it's not yet divergence, in fact. I think today's daily candle will give us good info. If today's daily candle is a good bullish candle and we get a triangle like this, I think one more continuation is pretty likely. All right, so those are some of the crosses. I see here a Google chart from last week. Let's take a look what happened. We were talking about it last week. I don't remember what we were analyzing, unfortunately. We were analyzing it somewhere a week ago, which I guess I really don't remember. It was either a Tuesday or Wednesday, which is somewhere around here, I guess. Does anyone remember what we were analyzing on Google last week by any chance? I don't remember. Anyhow, a gap break to the upside. Not sure it will close this gap. Looks like it's making a flag. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is some kind of expanded correction first like this and then continues. But probably this resistance level will be important. All right, anyhow, just one of the CFDs you can check out, of course. All right. Let's scroll back. I don't think we looked at the euro pound yet. There we go. Euro pound making a breakout to the downside here. I had a good breakout candle here and slowly falling to the downside there, very slowly. So slightly more euro, bearishness than pound bearishness, obviously, and that we saw with the pound dollar upside and the euro dollar. Euro dollar moving up indeed. So that's the end of that trade. Pound dollar moving up, Kiwi moving up indeed. I guess there was just not enough dollar conviction here, not enough dollar strength to push it. And the breakouts looked good beginning of today. But that's why trade management is important too, because if it takes too long, then at an appropriate time, it's good to kind of be on guard and not to stick emotionally to our trade too long. Not to give up too soon either, because then of course it's a delicate balance, because in that case we will not give the trade a chance to develop, which is not good either. But in this case, I think we gave enough time, and it just didn't push. It wasn't able to break, through the support. Aussie did a little bit, but still not even breaking the bottom. So I think good to be cautious with it. Alrighty, so let's see how far these retracements go. I think that it's still bearish, personally. But, who knows? It really depends on the price action and how it responds to 116.80, 116.75, and 117 in general. So does anyone have a follow-up questions maybe? We didn't look at the dollar cat, but after that, let me know if you have any questions. This is my market view for the moment. It's a bit quicker than usual, but it's been a slow week so far, and I'm really looking, from my perspective, at a continuation break here, which didn't happen. And now I have to wait for how price responds to this resistance zone on euro dollar, Aussie, Kiwi, and the pound dollar resistance zone, although it's trying to break as we speak. With regard to that dollar CAD though, let's take a look. Monthly charts. Oh, by the way, today is the last day of the month, which is one of the reasons maybe why the dollar is struggling a little bit, because it typically is a little bit choppier. It is not, if you're expecting trend trades, there is less conviction to push it through. And that has a little bit to do, perhaps psychologically, with the fact that at the end of the month, the plus and minuses are made, and there is this psychological border that the performance is calculated for October. Once that is closed, it doesn't change anymore. So, whatever your result is, you might be happy with the result, rather not trade, or I'm talking not necessarily about small retail traders like us, but big hedge funds, of course, with millions and billions. They might be not willing to commit right at the end of the month, rather maybe wait for beginning of November so that they not ruin their results necessarily of October, right? And that could be valid for us too, by the way. I mean, we also might think about that and say, okay, I made X amount this month. I'll just be happy with that and wait for November. We can do that too. Of course, the fact that we wait will not impact the market, right? Between us, honestly, if I trade or not, no one will notice. But that's just how it is. If you don't have millions and millions, a billion on your account that you're trading with. So, but that's why, in any case, the market could be typically a bit choppier. Last day of the month, last day of the quarter, end of the year, last week of the year, stuff like that. First week of the month, sorry, first week of the year, first day of the month, etc. Even the first day of the week, right, is typically a little bit slower. In any case, back to this dollar CAD. So good bullish momentum on this weekly chart. So the dollar is still pushing. And what I didn't like, I would have gone for this dollar CAD upside. I just didn't like this strong momentum down, which is why I hesitated with trading this upside. But ultimately, the break of the triangle did occur, and it was a good breakout. I just, because of this momentum, I had some hesitations. I was thinking that maybe a bigger correction is likely, but we never got the break of this support. But we did get the break of, as I said earlier, just a second ago, of this resistance. So I didn't think about this setup, but didn't do too bad. The pound CAD, though, was a bit better. And that's the one I took. So it also really doesn't make sense to necessarily take two CADs from that point of view. Anyhow, with regard to the target, I think that I don't know. It's, to me, it seems a little bit like it's getting into a pretty hefty zone. It's at the minus 61.8 target, so I would not be that jumping for joy to continue trading dollar CAD here to the upside. I think that this could create some bounce. And in fact, if there is divergence between these tops, maybe some reversal traders might be thinking about a downside trade if there's divergence and maybe some rising wedge at this minus 61.8 target. Some candlestick patterns there could be interesting to think about that. All right. So, well, folks, that was a quick recap of the market. Basically, with regard to break and bounce setups, it really depends on the structure. As you can see here, with regard to dollar CAD, there could be a break, for instance, here of this trend line, or a break here, and here there could be a bounce, a reversal bounce at the target, for instance. So you can, main ingredient is to look at decision zones and understand patterns in the trend, and then try to see which is a trade that is interesting at the decision zone, a bounce or break, or maybe both. So that's something. For instance, here we see momentum to the upside, we see a B, C correction. So from this perspective, if we see price breaking above here, that could confirm the fact that price is bouncing from this support. We will use it in two ways. If price is breaking above this could be a breakout with the trend, right? So this is how you can analyze with bounce and breaks, you can analyze the charts and find setups that seem interesting. All right, so by using fib targets, support and resistance, we also get a clue and divergence where price might stop, where the trend might stop. All right, and that's always a little bit more difficult. So that's why I like to use more confluence before trading reversals. All right, more webinars tomorrow. In fact, we'll take a look at finding trading setups with high probability. I'll be focusing on trend setups and some reversal trades that have more, better odds. Neneth is back, excuse me, tomorrow as well, and there are daily real-time trading ideas webinars as well for 15 minutes. And this is, I believe, GMT time. Should be GMT. It doesn't say GMT, but should be GMT, like the others, if I think. But maybe some of you know it better than me. And then Thursday, we have a special look at the US dollar, by the way. All right, what we expect from it. All right, and if you're interested in any of these MT4 features that I was showing with regard to the Eurodollar, for instance, like the Keltner, the pivot point, and the mini terminal, for instance, just 3 of the 60 available. Check out MT4 Supreme Edition right here. I'll just show you quickly, and there you go. Download for MT4, download for MT5, etc. All right. So that's it for today. Thanks for joining, and I hope to see you soon. And wish you good trading. Cheers.